I planted this vineyard in 2007, just before I went to Afghanistan for 9 months, before I retired from the military, and its first harvest year was 2010. We're giving you a basic, pretty non-technical winter pruning demonstration. There's been some replanting throughout due to some winter damage, but the oldest ones, which is not this one by the way, but some of the bigger ones you see that obviously look older, they're probably 13, 14 years old. They are a majority Ison's Deluxe, bought from Ison's Vineyard in Griffin, Georgia, I think. The ones that aren't that are also bought from him, but they're the noble variety. There's 24 rows, each of them 550 feet long, which I think is exactly 2.5 miles. And the vines are spaced apart every 20 feet. So every 10 feet you got a pole on a vine, a pole on a vine. So there's 26 vines per row, so it's 680 something, I don't know, it's a bunch. These things grow like crazy. I call them fruit-bearing kudzu. And if you don't trim them back every winter, these have been trimmed considerably. If you can see below us here, there's all manner of cuttings and stuff everywhere. They've been just electric trimmed, which is how the big commercial guys do it with machines, not in California or whatever. But so this has been trimmed but not pruned. But if you don't do it, it's 3 times harder to recover, which I'm experiencing now. All right, again, like I said, this is pretty much a several years worth of memory of what Greg Ison told me to do. Every year, the first year you prune them back, you cut them to the first nodule, which is where the first sprout's going to come. The second year you cut to the second one, the third year to the third one, and then you start over again. So in every 3-year cycles, we're trimming back. So we're going to do it at number 2. So just ahead, if this is the second nodule where the sprout's going to come, prune just ahead of it, and wham. That way this year, the new growth will come out of only these 2 places for each one. Every year, you should be growing grapes from new growth. Which is why, by the way, you do this in the winter. If you notice, this one's got a little bit of green. Some of the ones we hard trimmed with the hedge trimmers, just to cut them back, are already brown. This means there's a little bit of moisture there. But if you waited a couple of hours, this would probably drip some. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but the colder it is, the less that happens. The only thing I found they don't like is very, very, very cold weather, like in the teens. I've lost a bunch when that happens. You should take about a hand's width, in this case I'll say 3 fingers, 4 fingers between them. So in theory, every year, since I've now pruned this one, and this one's going to be decided to be a fruit-bearing one, I should cut this one back, and it's not, which means I'd have this much width between this one and the next fruit-bearing stem. One at 2 nodules, one off, and one at two nodes. And do this all the way down the line. Times 2.5 miles of muscadines. So this is a very labor-intensive thing, and it's good to be outdoors, but this is work. And again, you're looking at a vine that has already been mechanically trimmed back. If you can see down below us, there's grapevines everywhere, because this thing was probably bushed out to about here, and it's just easier to go through once and give it a cut, and then go back and fine tune it later. Trim it back to the second nodule. Get rid of the extras. Get rid of the ones in between. Turn this one back to the second nodule. Consider this one too close, so we'll trim that off up here. And if you did this, when this ended up, you would see just a stick. You have one stick out to the end with nothing any longer than probably this on the whole thing. It'll look like you killed him, but you didn't. But this blade goes to the center of this wide, flat surface. It doesn't slice. It just like your knife on a cutting board at home, as opposed to a pair of scissors that actually have to pass by each other. Well, this is by far the best way to cut the bigger, heavier stuff. And during the winter, when they're drier and harder, this is the way to go. The ones that are, if you just prune in the growth, because in the summer they're gonna explode out, and they're going to be really low, and you have to go through and just trim them. But then they're soft, pliable little vines, and you can use the scissor-like ones all day long. But in the winter, you're going to want these. Once it gets up to about here, you should train them to where about this far below the wire, and this wire is at 5 feet. They should V off, and only one vine going in each direction. Of course, it wants to do 100 other things, and that's the battle. They want to do everything. You want to do what you want them to do. because they want to spread out and make all the seeds, and and all you want them to do is make fruit. Like for example here, see this one on the side here behind this? This has now become a second one that has made its way out, and that happened in just a year. Again, you don't need that, and you could have never could have made that cut with a scissor, one of these, by the way. And then and they're pretty hardy, so you can kind of. And now I just have just the one. Here's another one. See, look at that. They're crazy. They go everywhere. This big one doesn't need to be there. All right, there. So now just one vine. See, this is what they do. This one's actually cutting back the other direction. I've had some run to the other end, starting here, and loop back and go all the way over there. And that'll happen in just about a year. So as you just march along, just cut them all second after the second one. If they're too close together like that one probably is, give us the space. So when you're done, you can see if you did this all the way up to the end on a long one, this would look very, very dead, very unlifelike, but that's what they're supposed to look like.